Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and tonight is night 5 of the Orisha interview series that celebrates 222.9 the Mothership Internet Radio's first year on the airwaves. But before we get into tonight's programming, should I say, conversation, we always start with pouring libations and giving homage to those who have gone on before us. And in doing that, I have my plant here. I also have, my water. You pour libations to the earth because when our loved ones transition from here to the other realm, the body stays here. The Ori and the spirit return to Orun. So it is believed in indigenous traditions that the earth, the soil, carries the wisdom of our ancestors. We use water and liquor to refresh the wisdom in the earth, to keep the wisdom alive and in the forefronts of our remembrance. So those of you that would like to join me in honoring the ancestors, meditate on your ancestors who lived in Iray, or should I say walked a good path, lived a good life. Meditate on them. And if you would like, feel free to type their names in the comment section as I pour this libation. We ready? We say, Omi tutu, Ona tutu, Ile tutu, refresh my head, refresh my house, refresh my road. I pour libation to all ancestors who endured the door of no return. I pour libations to the indigenous people here in this land that were here the whole time and were driven off. I pour libations to the freedom fighters. I pour libations to ascended masters of my craft, ascended masters of divinity. We thank you for all you've done. We ask for your guidance. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Now as I continue to pour the last of this water onto the plant, meditate on your ancestors that lived a positive life and left wisdom for you to follow. Muchubaiko, Muchubaiko, Muchubaiko. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. And as we all know, 222.9 the Mothership has 9 distinguished ancestors that are of honor to the station because of the wisdom that they gave its creator. And tonight, I'd like to highlight a special ancestor, one of the distinguished 9, who is also a child of Oshun, which is the Orisha that we're honoring tonight. Take a look.
Amen. Amen. Okay. I am so happy to be here with you and to see you. You are supporting a wonderful institution. I haven't seen anything like shape all over the country, but it needs to be all over the country. That's right, because we are phenomenally amazing people.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, all right, all right.
Racism is an illness. Are you sick? Jesus was a black man. Sex is not strawberry jam. Yay, Oshun of Houston. Queen Mother Denver made her return from Orun to Aiye on Wednesday, January 29, 1930. It was 43 years prior to the exact date of the solar return of Zen. The moon was new in Aquarius. Queen Mother Denver was an all-around Aquarius woman by sun and by moon. Saturn and Uranus were solid on both sides, and she was the fixed heir. In the African way of the stars, it was the season of the baobab tree. She was a life path number 5, the number sacred to Oshun. Speaking of, one of her many titles was Yeye Oshun of Houston. She was a perfect, rare, and truthful embodiment of the Orisha Oshun because many people have her misrepresented. More than Oshun is the goddess of beauty, wealth, eroticism, and divine feminine energy. She is a warrior. Mother Denver exuded a fine example of the warrior essence of the Orisha Oshun. As opposed to being a woman that wore many hats, I like to say that Queen Mother Denver wore the same hat with many portals. Physically, they were many buttons, and I always wondered if there was one for every award in honor of this divine woman's work. I speak of who's who in American women. I speak of the Sojourner Truth Award. I speak of the Poetess Public Service Humanitarian Award. Her throne was one of many seats. A few of them included the NAACP, the National Black United Front Houston Chapter, the Institution of Interracial Harmony, the Elder Institute of Wisdom at the Shape Community Center, and the Africans United for Sanity Now, founding member that is. Her inspiration to me was simply letting nothing stop her from doing her divine work. Not age, not feeling like she was behind time, not bereavement, not trauma from injustices witnessed. Nothing stopped Queen Mother Denver from confronting uncomfortable topics that plagued humanity. Queen Mother Denver had a creative streak, aside from her social activism. She actually designed the Black History Badge for the South Carolina Girl Scouts. She curated Black History exhibits for many educational groups, and she often shared literary thoughts with others. She even published a poetry book called Sex is Not Strawberry Jam. And between the pages of that book holds my most fond memory of Queen Mother Denver. It was the time and space where I was able to sit at her feet and recite her poem. It was a moment of a Queen Mother poetry recited by an empress who could only aspire. I, like she, walked the path of the ancient scribe. I am because she was and is. Queen Mother Denver returned to Osun from IEA on Sunday, February 10th, 2019. It was Aquarian season, 3rd decan, half Gemini energy, and the moon was waxing in Aries. In the African way of the stars, it was the season of the wealth of amber and silver. The day vibrated on a 6, set for manifesting material values behind the spiritual energies. I was given the honor of reading a special poem at her homegoing service, and now I can continue to honor Queen Mother Denver as she is honored by 222.9, the mothership, as a distinguished ancestor. Ashe.
And we're back. As we pay libations and honor our ancestors of those that have gone forward, we stand here in the present, but it's our job to open the way and give light and love to those to come. And in this moment, I'm going to take a minute to give a shout out to one of my baby cousins who just made her first year as the Alaafia, Omo Oshun. Take a look.
Ibasheo Domare, Ibasheo Run, Ibasheo Fin, Mojubabo Bo Orisha. Thank you to the ancestors. Mojuba Oshun, Mojuba Oshun, Mojuba Oshun, Yeo. Mojuba Ganju, Mojuba Ganju, Mojuba Ganju. This year marks the 1-year anniversary that the beautiful spirit, river goddess, Mama Yeye Oshun, descended and crowned my baby cousin, Iyawo Imole. Now, an entire year later, she stands before us as Iyalosha Omiseun. Congratulations on the first year of your Iyalosha journey, and may Oshun continue to bless your journey with as much honey as you can stand, and may Oya make all of your wind transitions swift, smooth, and enjoyable. Ashe. Congrats, baby sis. We look forward to many, many more things that the spirit of Oshun will manifest through you to make this world, to make this universe a better place. Asheo.
And we're back. Those of you that are just now joining us, I am Mayansa JT Muse, the creator of 222.9 The Mothership Internet Radio, and we are in interview 5 of the 7-part series honoring the Orisha unsung on the different days of the week. Now, tonight's guest was unable to be with us via split screen, and so Oshun's rivers travel, and we still got it down to some audio and some beautiful images. But before we get started, I wanted you to know some things about this Iya. She was the very first person initiated to Orisha that I ever laid eyes on. I met her back when I was still in my twilight zone between Christianity and finding my way back home. We met on a video set, and she was wearing a bright orange dress. Very sweet woman, very alluring. And it's interesting because the day that I met her, she wasn't wearing what we call the priestess garb, but she was wearing it in her spirit. And that's what made it apparent. And it's one thing about Omo Oshuns, they have the allure that draws you into the spirituality of your forefathers. I speak of Iya Osunbunmi Gaidi. So I'm not going to keep talking for too long because we have a lot to share in this conversation about Oshun and the melodies of love. Take a look.
Alaafia, aboru aboye aboru shisheo yeye Osunbunmi Gaidi. How are you this lovely Sunday afternoon?
It's Friday, but I'm wonderful.
Friday is the very reason I chose you for this interview on this day. The essence of Oshun. Ashe. So, let's start with some of your earliest experiences with Oshun before you realized that she was your Orisha mother.
I would have to say my demeanor and personality is what exposed me to Oshun through my own mother, because she was always just a very well-loved, very sweet person, and my godmother for that matter. They were just very well-loved people, and they were always willing to help. They was always willing to do. So they were my earliest examples of what that Oshun energy can look like.
Ashe. And what about the experiences of Oshun and you?
Well, it has been a journey, let me say that. And although the attributes of Oshun are very interesting, because on one level we're taught, oh, she's this big, sexy black woman, and she's attracting all these men, and she's just has all this love to give and money, Man, sounds like the American dream, right? But reality, the Oshun energy is very much geared in attraction in terms of bringing people together and understanding.
Okay.
Oshun is the energy that builds cities, because you have to have water in any town or village to grow. So, because water is the central part of life. So if there's no water there, there's not people going to congregate. So if that energy is there, because I do tend to go places where if I'm the only one there, pretty soon it's going to fill up. I notice people come after me. So I was like, okay, this does work. Let me see what's going on. But it's the attraction of multiplying and growing the community. And that's, I think, is one of the most important aspects of Oshun is to focus on. Is because when you're around Oshun people and all the Oshun energy, is that people are going to gravitate toward you and things are going to grow. So it's important to have understanding how you're dealing with people. It's important to be sweet to people, be hospitable, to treat people kindly. Those are, to give people inspiration, those things are very important in how you deal with community.
Ashe. And what would you say are some common misconceptions of Oshun?
In addition to what I said earlier about just being the sexy woman who can just attract any man or any woman for that matter to them, or her sexuality is very dominant in a lot of patakis, but that's not really the essence of Oshun. So I think her misconception is along with this her great sexuality is also her great vanity, and that's just simply, it's a misconception. It's not true. Even though one of Oshun's tools are actually, she's always seen as looking in the mirror, but it's really the mirror of self-reflection that reminds us that we have to be who we are.
Yes, and see
it's
that.
Not a matter of admiring yourself, but it's admiring yourself not in a vanity way, but in a self-reflective way. It's an empowering way. It's not it's only about me way. It's about being your best self.
And we're back. Y'all caught me looking down. As you see, or as you've heard from Iya Osunbunmi Gaidi, the essence of Oshun is the spark of attraction. Oshun is the honey that makes life sweet. She's the inspiration that makes us want to continue to live on. That can be a little far-fetched from some of the things that we were taught to believe about the Orisha Oshun. And throughout this series of interviews, I'm hoping everyone is receiving the essence behind what's taught in a lot of the patakis. Those of us that don't know what patakis are, the pataki means the sacred stories. Very, I would say kind of like the Bible stories, but Ifa Orisha predates the Bible, so you guys kind of get my drift. Oshun, I want to speak on an experience per se that I had with the Orisha Oshun, a second one should I say. It was when I met Iya Isis Bradley, and I went to one of her natural hair festivals and parades, and I remember being a little intimidated by her when I first met her, because I had never seen someone at that point in my life, I had never seen someone so outwardly able to just fully be themselves in every square inch of their being and not be bothered about any looks or speculations, and I understood in her essence of being a Omo Oshun, it was her job to be who she was so that I could take a closer look. Because those of us who are initiated to Orisha, those of us who are worshiping Orisha, those of us that are learning about Orisha, let's have a bit more patience and understanding for those who may be skeptical or may want to shy away at first. Because what I believe is that many people shy away from Orisha at first sight because it taps something inside that makes, how do I put it? It taps something inside that was already there, and it makes us look at how far we've been derailed between religion and spirituality. But speaking of patakis, we're going to discuss some things about one of Oshun's more popular patakis. Take a look, take a listen.
And here now today, Orisha is becoming a lot more trendy and mainstream, and I have mixed feelings about that, because on one side of the balance, I'm happy that our people are being made aware of the Orishas and the traditions of our ancient indigenous ways. But on the other side of the balance, there's a lot of untruth to sort out. And I find it interesting that the Orisha knowledge of the Orishas is becoming more broad at the same time that people are going a lot more towards self-love, self-healing, and things of this nature. How do you feel that the essence of Oshun is important to the healing of women?
I got chills when you asked me that. what Oshun is the nurturing and understanding. Well, nurturing I would say is more Yemoja energy, but it's just letting the love attract you to each other, letting the likes attract likes. It's about, and I don't want to make it seem like it's all about this big love fest and we all just going to sing kumbaya, because relationships are more intricate than that. It's about having that compassion and understanding and intuitive love for each other, to let it begin from there.
And that is hence Oshun being that initial spark of creation, because
Right.
you were the very first Orisha person I had ever laid eyes on. Like, period,
Right.
before I knew of any of it. And ironically, I remember like yesterday, and this was 12 years ago, back in 2010, and I remember you were wearing this red-orange sundress.
Mm-hmm.
And now in hindsight, looking at that memory again, I'm like, that was Oshun. And then I was like, what kind of name is Osunbunmi? What does that mean?
Where she get that name from?
That's exactly what I asked. I was like, where did she get? Oh, she's a priestess. A priestess of what?
What
Oshun.
does that even mean?
Who is Oshun? You know, so that you brought that reality into my life, hilariously enough. And so that spark of attraction is that allure. But how
But
can
that's not the only thing. That's only the first level. That's why I think Orisha is so popular. It's like, wow, we just got out of the stories of slavery. Now we have these mythological beings that are powerful and beautiful and sexy, and they cause controversy. So we're interested. Well, who did what and this and that. That's our human nature.
yes.
Is the drama, but the most importantly, but it's once we get past that, then we can start like really learning. Once we get that, wow, what's that? So,
The honeymoon
now
phase.
it's time to learn. Now it's time to use your discernment. Now it's time to use our read. Now that I've attracted you to something, I'll say, okay, now let me start thinking. Why did my Ori send me here?
Yes.
What did I do? Because that's a big part of all of the Orisha training, and I'm seeing it more prevalent now. Is for rework is so important, and we are not often given the tools because we live in America, and everything in America is very much against Ari and this tradition.
Absolutely.
So we just have to look for tools to be mindful of that. So
I'd like to make I want to get your thoughts on the Pateki, or the higher interpretation of the popular Pateki of Oshun drenching herself in honey and getting Ogun to chase her back into civilization. I want to talk about that one.
let me put this in layman's terms.
Yes, because I get a lot of people talk about that Pataki a lot. And so...
Well, it's really, essentially, it's just saying that one aspect of creation had the technical knowledge and the others that had the... Oshun is basically the inspiration that gave Ogun to continue on.
Ashe.
Because, honey, you can make this an X-rated story and just be like, oh, he was all drenched in Oshun's honey, and then he started doing it. That's an interpretation, but I don't think that's the interpretation either.
I don't either.
But it's more so is that it's just when I'll take it like this. One time the kid says that how Oshun fights is she just simply removes the sweetness from your life. And when things don't motivate you, it's hard to find direction. It's hard to be creative. It's hard to find that this spark of, dang, when you're just empty. And that's the energy that Oshun provides us. It's that little spark, that little something that makes you hopeful, that makes you excited, that makes you be like, oh, wow,
Yes.
And gives you that little push to carry on. And that Pateki with Ogun, basically, he was done. He was like, finished. That's it.
Yes.
It's a wrap. I ain't coming back. And
Oh,
so she
yes.
was just like, hey, no, we can do this, babe. Come on, let's go. So, and that's what her honey or her sweetness comes into play. It's her inspiration.
Ashe. Thank you for clearing that up. Thank you so very much. So we had these babies out here rolling in honey and running through the woods.
Well, they may need to know that's not that kind of honey they're talking about.
Exactly. Don't try this at home. Don't try this at home.
I hope that brought everyone clarity on the honey and going to retrieve Ogun. Many of us who practice the tradition of Orisha, a common thing that you can do to make sure you're mindful of the words that you put into the universe is simply put a bit of honey on your tongue every day. And that's to make your words sweet, so that you don't send any negative energy to anyone and they won't take that negative energy and send it somewhere else. This is cinnamon honey. It's delicious. Makes you think about the sweetness of life, the sweetness of love being a universal intelligence. Because now that we're more in the awakened age of getting a deeper understanding of how our energy affects the energy of the whole, it makes sense that Oshun's essence is becoming more prevalent in today's society. But it isn't to get it twisted for her to be a harlot or some type of seductress or some type of siren figure that just uses her powers of seduction for lower vibration tasks. No, the allure and the attraction is to a higher understanding and to universal love itself. See, Oshun knew that Ogun was needed in civilization. Ogun probably knew he was needed in civilization as well. He just needed Oshun for that sweet spark, that sweet reminder that life is still worth living. On with the interview.
I want to know what your thoughts are on Oshun's connection to the colors, yellows, oranges, golds, reds. Because I'd even heard that Oshun's original color was white.
Well, the pataki that goes with that is that Oshun was a poor young lady, and she had one dress, and this one dress, because it was a white dress, and because she washed it diligent, she was very clean, and she washed it every day, it yellowed with age, and that's how her color became yellow. But more importantly is that think about things that brighten your life, like the sun, like sunsets, like sunrises. Those are the colors that Oshun's affiliated with.
Yes, bright colors.
So that's how I interpret that, or that's why those colors are sacred to her. It's the brightness that she brings to our lives.
Ashe.
So.
Because yellow tends to lighten my mood. Like when I'm feeling a little heavy, I'll wear something yellow, and it naturally lightens my mood. And that's like a deeper correlation to Ifa Orisha also being the origins of color magic.
Right. Absolutely. Because there is a science to colors, how it makes us feel, what it attracts, how it affects our moods.
Yes.
So on and so forth. So
let's talk about Oshun, vultures, and peacocks.
Oh, okay.
Your thoughts? Because, when I was an undergrad, I published this collection of poetry, and it was called Crying Diamonds. But I had this really old fan of peacock feathers, and I was just so drawn to it. And I used it for my book cover at the time. And I would later learn about Oshun and peacock feathers and Oshun and vultures. So I would like to expound more into that.
Okay. Well, to study animals in Orisha, I think you need to study the attributes of the animals themselves. Now, peacocks, I would say, or in my experience, because I don't recall there being peacocks in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
And there may be, I don't, at the times I've been in Nigeria, I certainly had not seen any or seen where or read they had been native to Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
So that may have been an event of the New World and New World system.
Okay.
And in the story of the vulture is that basically the peacock starts out as a peacock and turns into a vulture because of Oshun's sacrifice, because she had to get a message to Olodumare, and she took upon this task, and she flew when she was getting hot and the sun was beating her and started burning her feathers, and she persisted, and when she got there she was like bald-headed like the vulture. So they called it, she turned into the vulture because of the sacrifices she made to try to save whatever situation that was going on. Vultures are very majestic birds.
Yes, they are.
And they eat the dead. So in the sense that they take away things that are decaying to make something better, because it's all a part of our ecosystem. Things have to decay before they're regrown. So there's an aspect of rebirth and regeneration from that.
Shay, thank you for that.
And the same with monarch butterflies. And sometimes you see butterflies be associated with those sugars and the ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
It's the regeneration and the rebirth.
The transformation of the energy.
Right.
Yes. I wouldn't
equate transformation to Oshun per se, because I know that change is part of Oya, but
oops.
But it's all intertwined. So nothing in nature exists by itself. Everything works with everything.
Ashe. Absolutely. And I'm glad that part is being more clarified so that people understand that the Orishas are forces of nature that work together. And how can that be possible if they're pinned against each other in the Patakis?
Well, you have to look at what the energies are that are they're talking about. You can't look at things literally.
Right.
I mean, you can't look at these, like, say, as human beings, yes, we have a lot of issues. We have a lot of beef. You know, that's just the nature of human beings. So we have to apply what we know. These are not human beings. Even though we're reading a story as if they are, we have to apply, okay, what's the principle here? Let's apply the principle. What's it going against? What's the challenge here? And how do we overcome it? Because things in nature will conflict from time to time, because that's just, if a hurricane is making a pond flood, then, you know, that's what's going on right now.
Absolutely.
And until it calms down and everything smooths back down, and now we have a newly regenerated pond for all the animals and human beings to drink from.
Right. After the old is cleared away.
Right, exactly.
And we're back. If you're just now joining us, I'm Mayansa JT Muse, and you're listening to Oshun and the Melodies of Love, featuring Yeye Osunbunmi Gaidi. And we're just discussing some things concerning Oya's nature, her roles, her misconceptions, and ways to understand her. And of course, Oshun rules Friday's musical rotation here on 222.9 The Mothership. Check it out.
Yellows, golds, Venus, Ibashe Oshun, love, sensuality, voices of the mothers. Welcome to Fridays on the Mothership. 222.9. Beam up.
So, Iya, explain this image to me.
Okay, this image is near and dear to my heart because I look at it as an aspect of Oshun that's not always talked about, but it represents her as a protector of women, and particularly women who don't have a voice, women who are abused, women who are suffocated, I guess, or put down. And in this picture, even though she has on half of her armor, because she's been to battle, she's got the cut, she's got, has taken her hits, but she still stands there for them. And the women cling on to her for dear life.
Ashe.
So even though she's looking through her own cuts, scrapes, her punch she had to take, she's still holding up the women that don't have any support. And I just think it's a very powerful image. That's why I keep her around. That image anyway.
Well, many do get it twisted. They think Oshun is all honey and they forget that she's a warrior.
Right, absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And piggybacking on yesterday's interview, when I asked during the Shango and the Fathers of Song, I asked Oluwo Falade about the connection between Shango and Oya, Shango and Oshun, Shango and Oba. Shango and Oshun, that understanding, more of the compassion. And that is greatly needed in today's world. So all of you ladies out there that love Oshun, and we all love Oshun, and Oshun loves us, let's remember the importance of that compassion, the universal intelligence of love, and the strength and the warriorship of us protecting ourselves and one another. And love is one of the most complex energies to deal with when you do so from a standpoint of your ego. The more we surrender to our spirits, the more love becomes a universal understanding. And it even becomes something that's a joy to do. Hence the yellows, hence the oranges, hence all the things that make life sweet, alluring, and full of laughter. Laughter is, like we all say, laughter is the best medicine, but it is. Scientifically, it does increase positive endorphins, in the body, which creates its own healing. And in doing so, you feel the essence of Oshun. I have one last segment to share tonight before we close out. And if you haven't already, beam up to the mothership from, if you have Android, it's go to Google Play 222.9 the mothership. And you can get that app on your phone. If you're on iPhone, then you want the simple radio app. Put 222.9 the mothership into the search engine. And if you're doing so from the desktop, the website is www.poeticallymuse.org/mothership. I'll type these things into the comments section shortly. But right now, let's get into some more Oshun and the Melodies of Love with Iya Osunbunmi Gaidi. How would you explain Oshun's essence to the river?
Oshun's essence to a river is that rivers provide sweet water, theoretically. Not all of them, of course, do, but that's where we go to drink water to sustain us. Sweet water is water that is okay for us to drink, or, safe for us to drink.
Yes.
So that's the aspect of Oshun that builds towns, because everyone has to have water to drink, to cook,
to bathe,
water the garden, to live. So, as we are 70% water ourselves. So,
Oshun sweetens the water that
water has no enemy, because everybody needs water.
Absolutely, water has
water in excess will drown you.
That part. That part. So the next thing I want to talk about is some of the projects that you have going.
Okay. Well, one of the biggest things that I'm working on right now, as I said, Ori work is very important to me, and I've been so blessed to be involved with an organization called Ori Ini, and you can find that online. And it gives you it's not an elay. It's not a if you even anyone from any elay or any spiritual tradition can join, but it's based on an Ifa perspective. How Ori benefits and tools you can use to help sharpen your Ori, I guess, or open your Ori to heal trauma. This is strictly things to deal with on like the day-to-day basis, or questions you could pose yourself with, or things to think about, and it's backed up by Ifa corpus.
Okay. And would you mind if I shared the web link to that?
Sure. It's Ori, ORINEENI.com.
Absolutely. Now, I will be posting that in the comment section. Now, as we know, we're here on 222.9 The Mothership, where the musical rotations are based in planetary alignment. And I just wanted your, opinion on music and some of your favorite. What were some of the singers that you feel resonate the most with Oshun energy?
Man, Sade, Tina Marie, Floetry, Marsha Ambrose, she's awesome. Let me see. Even though Earth, Wind, and Fire is not a female group, they speak so highly and so strongly of love. I just,
Yes.
Stevie Wonder, for that matter, as well. He speaks of the spiritual aspect of love, even though he talks about loving like a spouse would, but it's more of a higher vibrational type of love.
Definitely.
And then I'm just kind of old school too, so sorry.
Me too. And that's one of the main reasons for creating the Mothership too, is preserving what I call the genius of black music.
Absolutely.
Well, that's
I can't think of anything else right now. I was like, who else? I know there's many more people, but I can't think of it. It's like so many times, like who can I call out the name first?
Well, I have a montage that I had created with that because I couldn't keep all those names on the tip of my tongue, so I created a montage for them. So, because Fridays here on the Mothership is the day sacred to Oshun. You have 2 hours of Orisha music on the Rising Bembe, and on Fridays it's all music for Oshun, and just a lot of love jams from a lot of really beautiful sisters that, I felt resonated Oshun energy with me. Now, with singers like Sade, it was complicated because some of her songs went under Oshun's category, and others went and others went under Oya.
Right.
To me.
Well, I always say Oshun and Oya are very close in the sense that they both, because if you're going to be queen of the marketplace, you're going to have things to attract people to you. So in that aspect, it's like, okay, I have, they work with attracting people to something.
Let's speak a little more on that because people, there's how the misconceptions are between.
Yes, it's always like everybody's at odds, everybody that got beef and everything, but yeah,
right.
That's prevalent. But all the feminine energy works together, first of all. But Oya and Oshun have an affinity with being able to attract things together. Now, of course, for different reasons. For the marketplace, things have to be pretty if you're going to go to attract someone to come and try to sell them something. Oshun, the attraction is more towards building together for a purpose.
Okay.
But they're both still, you're seeing something and you find it desirable. So that energy of both ways is still there.
Duly noted. Okay, because of Orisha becoming popular and Disney and all of that, it's important that we make sure that these things are understood.
Right. And, you just can't lose sight of the essence of what of things we're trying to do, because Orisha exists because we exist side by side with Orisha. But it's through our ancestors and through our we're able to make those choices to better serve with Orisha.
Ashe. Well, Yeye, I would like to say thank you for joining me on today's show. And I just would like to, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I just want to say I didn't give thanks to my elders at the beginning, but I wanted just to say I give thanks to my Oshun elders and in the tradition, to my Ile Omo Ifawale, Ebe Egunfewa, to my ancestors, to, I don't know, you do libation and stuff, but I just want to not pass this opportunity by without saying I give thanks, and I thanks for those who paved the way before me. I say Ashe, Mojuba, Lungu, Mojuba, Bobo Risha, Mojuba, Ori.
Ashe.
I am grateful.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. So when we think of Oshun, maybe now we can think of more than just cinnamon, honey, oranges, peacock feathers, and allure. When we think of the essence of Oshun, we think of love as a universal intelligence. We think of the spark that makes life worth living. We think of honey on our tongues as the importance of being kind to others, as all the energy we put out, we receive back in return. And Oshun is the essence of what keeps that part smooth, sweet, and like a natural river flow of life. One more thing I'd like to bring to your attention that will probably be discussed in a later interview. There is a difference between your Ori and your ruling Orisha head. Your ruling Orisha head is your ruling Orisha head. Your Ori is your Ori. But there will be more on that later. In the meantime, in between time, I'm about to get back to the groove. But before I do, I'd just like to share some information with you as to how you can become a supporting member of 222.9 The Mothership. Take a look.
Attention, attention, attention all star seeds, time travelers, mystic geniuses, and those finding their way in the cosmic divinisphere. All passengers aboard the mothership under the sound of my voice, I have a quick question. Where are you in the mothership's galaxy? Are you a cosmic ray? Are you a solar flare? A blue galaxy? A lyrical meteor? A gamma ray? An infrared spectrum? Are you an aurora? Are you a supermoon? Are you a supernova? Are you a galactic nucleus? Are you celestial? Are you a constellation? Are you an equinox, an ionosphere, or are you an exoplanet? Let your spirit decide. Show your support for 222.9 The Mothership by becoming a member and choosing your level today. Membership level gifts include audiobooks, paperback books, healing stone bracelets, bottle art, and other mystic gifts created, painted, written, and produced by yours truly. Other membership level gifts include my signature astrology, numerology, and tarot readings by email. And most of all, you will know that you have sown a seed into an innovative, futuristic concept of melanated, esoteric radio. So let your spirit decide. Visit www.poeticallymuse.org/mothership and hit the scroll all the way down to choose your membership level. You can also choose your membership level on the Mothership's Facebook page, 222.9 The Mothership, or at Mused, M-U-S-E-D, Mothership. Thank you for listening, and thank you in advance for your support. Now back to the groove.
I'd like to thank all the listeners out there and those that watched this video, and hope you enjoyed it. Spread the word, leave some feedback, and beam on up to the mothership to continue Oshun's Groove on Fridays only. Thank you very much for joining me. I love you all. Ire be to you all, and good night.